You guys know what time it is. You know it's Sunday before the game, and we got extra time to watch this video because we don't play at 1, nor do we play at 4:30. Not 6:20, 8 o'clock, national prime time versus the Baltimore Ravens. Can't wait. I'm excited. I'm excited. Hopefully the Browns make some Raven fans really sad today. I would love to make some Raven fans feel really, really sad and salty, and then we come back and then beat that booty again. There'll be nothing. Look, G Bush, we been Brown's Twitter has been in shambles and been arguing with folks and all this stuff. Who's a real Browns fan? Who not? Look, here's all I know. If these next 3 weeks and with 2 victories over the Ravens, ain't nobody gonna care about none of that, right?
No,
Nobody's gonna be sitting.
forgotten.
We gonna be on the same page, and the same page is the only page in which anybody's on the same page, and that's called winning. But if you ain't on that winning page, then oh man, we're gonna be doing this. So for my health and safety, I need the Browns to get them 2 against Baltimore, so we can go back to beating going back to beating the Steelers, going back to beating the Bungles like we love to do. Because I know Bengal fans. Let me not talk about them because they can be talking about them. But a lot to talk about though. The Browns, I would say, in the last 3 years, probably their biggest rivalry game is the Baltimore Ravens, because it's felt more real. These two teams have come up around the same time. They've been kind of butting up against each other the last few years. When they struggling at the same time. Lamar in the same draft class as Baker. All of that stuff kind of coincides here, which leads to a nice little rivalry that we've had with Baltimore. It's been a fun time. I like how Baltimore fans get down for the most part. I think we all have fun with it. But that being said, going into this game, I think both teams have some issues that they're worried about the other team being uniquely equipped to exploit, right? If you're talking about Baltimore's issues, it's that offensive line. And I know what I'm thinking right now is Big Andy on that left side.
Yeah.
We done seen Big Andy struggle against one Myles Garrett. Do you think that's going to be a key part in this game? And if you were Joe Woods, G. Bush, what would your game plan be versus the Baltimore Ravens?
Man, I would cut, copy, and paste Miami's whole game plan what the Ravens ran. And basically, they were just running double A gaps like we do on Madden out of a nickel or something. But the great thing about it was, I think that they schemed it up well. And when you're running that type of defense where you're trying to confuse the offensive linemen so guys can come free, you have to actually sell it. You got to be good, actors. You actually got to go upfield 2 steps and act like you're really about to rush in that gap. And then whoever's, not rushing, they drop back in the coverage after your 2 steps and after the linemen are engaging you. So then you got a bunch of people engaging or trying to, but when you back out, now you got guys like outside linebackers or corners or whatever the case may be that are hitting your quarterback because they're coming free unimpeded. So I think that defense is something that I would definitely try to do, and to see if I can get Lamar Jackson to hold on to the football a little more. I would be more apprehensive if this was a Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes or somebody like that can diagnose that and run some stuff to make you pay for that. So for me, I'm running that same game plan. And I think it's a good opportunity to prove to them or to make them prove to you that they fixed that in last week, a couple weeks. So I'm bringing that right back.
All right. So defensively, we know that Myles Garrett matchup is going to be huge, right? The Jadeveon Clowney matchup is going to be huge. What about these linebackers? How do you feel about these linebackers going into this game? Do you think JOK is going to be up to what they're going to ask him to do, right? Because you're probably talking about covering some Mark Andrews, sometimes covering the slot receiver, and then a lot of blitzing and a lot of alerts for these screens. So you think he's up to stuff for this?
I think that he's gonna Myles Garrett is gonna get his money off. I think he'll be a guy up front that really balls, and I think that'll trickle down to the back end. When you look at these linebackers, they're not the greatest in the world with coverage, right? They're not the greatest one-on-one coverage type team. One of the reasons you got JOK was specifically for this matchup. When you got to have speed on the field, and you want to substitute a traditional linebacker for somebody with some speed that has coverability and also as spy techniques. So I think that Joe Woods has to be the most creative he's ever been in order to get this dub. And I don't want to make it seem like, the Ravens are some unbeatable juggernaut, but you got to think about it and understand the Ravens get up when they play the Browns now. It's not,
they don't take the team for granted.
They don't never take it for granted. So they're going to be coming out here trying to take heads off. And if we play passive, soft zones, Mark Andrews will be open every play. If you rush four, Lamar Jackson's going to be out the back door anytime he wants, because you're asking a defensive end and you're asking guys to be able to contain him. You almost want to do like a muddle rush where you stand at the line of scrimmage and kind of, if you're not all out blitzing and you dropping people, you need to have, basically some guys that have really good gap integrity and make sure that all the lanes are closed.
So you telling me Jordan Elliott can't play this?
No, he's not. He's not gonna sniff no snaps. No snaps for you, big homie.
Yeah, but it's gonna take a lot of patience and discipline this week, right? Because it's gonna be tempting. Let me abandon my rush lane and chase after Lamar Jackson.
Yep,
that is almost always a mistake. Maybe Miles can get away with it because Miles is a freak athlete and in his prime, but literally nobody else can. Malik McDowell, I don't worry about him doing these things, right? Because Malik understands I'm tall, long, and strong. So I'm going to go up side to side, but I'm not moving my feet that much.
And by the way, he has some good feet. When we was breaking down the film, we was like, dang, big fella. Malik McDowell moving.
He can scoot. I don't know how this turned into Malik McDowell appreciation, but I appreciate the Malik McDowell appreciation. Hope they re-sign him. Really do.
They need to. They need to. No ifs, ands, or buts. They need to.
Yeah, Malik McDowell really good at football. Make sure y'all check out that film breakdown if you haven't already, because there's a lot of gems in there that are going to come in useful for this week, right?
Right.
But yeah, we talk about gap integrity. We're talking about discipline pretty much on that defensive line, right? Making sure that you stay where you're supposed to stay. I don't worry about that with Miles, because Miles, even though sometimes he can get a little bit excited, he knows better against Lamar, where he's like, I'm just hold the corner and just be athletic off the edge here.
They got to
with Clowney, even though Clowney will shoot it sometimes if he thinks he can get it. He can sometimes make those plays. But let's switch gears, talk about the offense real quick.
Okay.
I know I'm gonna just say what I think about this game real quick, and then you tell me what you think. Now I know everybody in the world, the obvious thing to say is Brown should run the ball. Brown should run the ball, 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 run the ball. And I get that, because it's the one thing we kind of do well is run the ball. We have not thrown the ball with any consistency well this year since like the third quarter of the Kansas City game. So I get why that is the instinct for a lot of people. But I understand the numbers look good against Detroit, but if we go back and watch that game, we were struggling to run the ball for most of that game.
Yep.
And Detroit is not as good as a run defense as Baltimore. I don't think we're going to be able to get 300 yards on the ground against Baltimore. If we do and that can carry us, hey, happy do. I'll take it where I can get it. I'm happy to be wrong on this, but I just don't think this is going to be the week we're going to do that. So that being said, this is what makes some people nervous about this game. This is what makes some people feel like there's a huge opportunity in this game. But this game, and much like the rest of this season, it's going to be Baker answering the question. Can you make some plays? He don't got to make all the plays. He don't got to throw for 300 yards. He didn't have to do that against Cincinnati. What did he do against Cincinnati? He just made a couple of throws that he needed to make, right? That's all we need, right? Just make those throws, make those plays, take advantage of those things when you get there. Score in the red zone. Don't settle for field goals. That's what we're going to need out of Baker Mayfield today. Well, yeah, today. We're going to need that playmaker that he was at the end of last year. We're going to need him to make plays to win this game. And I understand where people's confidence is all over the place on whether he can do it. I've watched the film. I'm not 100% confident if this is going to be the guy that's going to be able to do it. But I think in order to win, like regardless of what you think about Baker Mayfield, whether you like him or not, that's what you're going to need to win. Am I off base here? Or do you think the run game is going to be able to carry us?
No, I've always said this from the beginning. In the league, you have to run, you have to throw the ball to open up the run game. Because if you're just running the ball every single play, the thing that'll happen is stopping the run isn't as hard as people think. If you have unblocked players and you can count on them to make a tackle just 85% of the time, and you rally to the football, those are things that can eliminate the run game, because I got people up there. I got, it's 9 guys up there. The running back can't block for himself. So when we looking at this situation with the run game, I think people are using it as a crutch rather than using it as something that you can analyze and talk about, and it takes technique. Everything defaults to just run the ball because it's inherently safer or it's inherently going to score you more points. That's not necessarily true. So there's a lot of people with misnomers with running the ball and thinking it's easier than it is. But the field becomes super duper, constricted when you don't have, 3 receivers, 4 receivers, any of that. Throw the ball over 10 yards. If you get a penalty and they take it back 10 yards, now it's 1st and 20, you off script. 1st and 15 for false starts. So all these things, people keep saying it, and they're using it as a way to shield the fact that the Cleveland Browns passing offense is terrible. It's just not good. And we keep talking about who is it, right? But all I know is they did get rid of somebody, and we were supposed to be good by now. We were supposed to be on a 4-game winning streak or whatever the case may be, and we were supposed to be, and now, that looks quite foolish, right? That looks kind of silly when you actually break that situation down. So no, you can't just come out here and get some good Baltimore Raven team like they don't got film work. Like you don't know what they're talking about.
And I always say when it comes to the run and passing attack, right? You have to have either a running game that's really good at moving the ball between the 40s, or you have to have a passing game that's really good at moving the ball between the 20s, and a running game that can finish in the red zone, right? You need either the running game to be the finisher in the red zone or the passing game to be the finisher in the red zone. And you need one of those two things to be confident enough to get you up and down the field on a consistent basis. I think the issue in some of the clog with this Browns offense is I think the passing game is good enough at getting you to the red zone. They get to the red zone a ton. You know what I mean?
Especially the first drive.
Game, right? Like they get there all the time. This is why we're frustrated with them, right? And why the 4th downs keep happening, because they get into the red zone, or at least close to it. And then they do it with the run game, and they do it with the passing game. The issue this year, I think the biggest difference between this year and last year is red zone production, right? And how did the Browns score touchdowns last year in the red zone? Some of it, was running, but it wasn't as much as you would think. A lot of it was through the passing game, right? The passing game was the finisher, right? You get the ball to Baker, Baker finishes it off, and you score that way. That's 5 touchdowns for Cincinnati, right? Like that's how that happens. This year, we have no finishers in the red zone. We have no finishers on 3rd down. We have no finishers.
We have no jump ball capabilities,
right? Whether it's
no mismatches,
whether it's run or pass, nobody is finishing in the red zone like they did last year. And that is the biggest thing to me that is killing this team that I hope to change here. But real quick before we head out and do part 2 on your channel, G Bush, how are you feeling about this game? Do you feel good about it? Do you have a good feeling? Do you think we're going to be in for a treat on Sunday night?
You know, this is a very loaded question.
It's the only questions I have.
I mean, when I talk about feeling good, do I think the Browns will compete? Yes, I think the game.
Nah. Are you feeling the W
the
in your
dub?
chest?
No, I don't see the W.
Oh, it's not in your chest.
Nah,
We're gonna get it into your chest, G.
I mean, if it came down to a last-second field goal, I think
we're not winning that one because that's just
nah. I think the Ravens have shown multiple times they can beat us. In remember the block punt or the block field goal that they took back to the house when all these different things. Lamar Jackson goes to the bathroom. Trace McSorley gets the first down. And he comes back and throws a bomb in a broken coverage. These are the type of things that I always say when somebody says we're not the same old Browns, and I say, well, look, man, until the Browns start getting some of those plays and stop giving up some of those plays, it just don't even out. You're gonna have to beat these good teams. The Ravens, the rest of their schedule is brutal. Their easiest game is Las Vegas, and they're not even bad.
Or the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean the Bengals.
I know how the Bengals play against everybody else, but I know how the Bengals play against us.
Well, I look at it like this: if you don't get that done, chalk it up. It's time to go fishing.
Well, you brought up an excellent point that we're going to touch on your channel, G Bush. So let's hop on over. Let's go take that walk over to G Bush's channel. Links in the description down below. We're going to head over there.
Migration.
Join us here on part 2. Make sure your knees okay, big fella.
Yeah, I'm going to ice them down when I get over to the other studio.
All right. Let's head over.